Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we're going to explore who the lipstick-faced demon is. One of the most interesting, sinister, mysterious, and truly terrifying demonic entities we've seen in modern horror cinema is the red-faced demon, also known as the lipstick-faced demon. This entity appears in the entertaining and terrifying Insidious film saga, created by the talented director James Wan and the renowned screenwriter Lee Hwanel. The red-faced demon is a very powerful, ancient, and malevolent being, as it seems to be the strongest and most violent entity inhabiting the dark dimension known as the Further. He rules that place with an iron fist, which is why all the other spirits living there show him great respect and fear. This entity serves as the main antagonist or villain of the first Insidious film, although he appears throughout the entire saga in a secondary but always present role. This is because he seeks to possess the bodies of the living, unlike most of the spirits in this saga who wish to return to life because they are dead. The demon, on the other hand, aims to cause pain and death to humanity and takes pleasure in tormenting people. Due to all the mystery surrounding him, his incredible abilities, and his chilling and iconic appearance, the red-faced demon is considered one of the most terrifying demonic beings we've seen in modern horror cinema. That's why in this video, I will explain in detail the story and origins of the lipstick-faced demon from the Insidious saga. To do this, I'll provide a chronological summary of his origins and his story as shown in the films. Then, I will explain his physical appearance, what we know about his personality and behavior, as well as his incredible abilities and known weaknesses. It is implied that, unlike many of the specters in Insidious, who are essentially humans that turned into vengeful spirits or malevolent ghosts, like Parker Crane or the man who can't breathe, the red-faced demon is inherently a demonic being. According to comments from James Wan, this demon was once an angel created by God, who rebelled along with other angels and Lucifer, which led to his expulsion from heaven. While most demons were cast into hell, this entity became trapped in the dimension known as the Further, which in the universe of these films is a sort of purgatory where the souls of some people remain trapped, unable to fully escape despite their efforts. It is suggested that since the origins of humanity, the red-faced demon has been present, tormenting people throughout ancient times. However, according to director James Wan, this being adopted his iconic and terrifying appearance around the year 1700 after observing various human carnivals and festivals where masks, clowns, and jesters were used. Nevertheless, we know this entity can change its form at will, though most of the time he prefers to maintain this appearance. Fortunately for humanity, the red demon was trapped in the dimension of the Further and couldn't truly escape that place. However, as psychic and medium Elise Rainier warns, the Further is not a place that pure souls or the living should visit, as it is extremely dangerous, and often, some things can return with you. This is, unfortunately, what happened to Elise. She hadn't used her psychic abilities for a long time, and only employed them to save a girl named Quinn Brenner from the specter known as the Wheezing Man. Although the medium successfully saves Quinn from that malevolent being, and everything returns to normal for her family, something far more malevolent, powerful, and ancient than the Wheezing Man returned with Elise from the Further, attached to the medium. That's why, at the end of Insidious, Chapter 3, we see that Quinn and her family are fine, and Elise, along with her new assistants, Specs and Tucker, are happy because they successfully saved the girl. Additionally, Elise was able to use her abilities again for good. However, that night, when Elise goes to sleep, she notices her late husband's sweater placed on her bed. Although for a moment, she thinks it was put there by her husband's spirit, she soon realizes something is wrong when her dog becomes very agitated and starts barking toward the nearby closet. A pale face appears there, and suddenly, behind Elise, the lipstick-faced demon emerges. This reveals that the entity returned with Elise to the world of the living, and will begin carrying out his malevolent and sinister plans, though remaining hidden in the shadows and not directly revealing himself to her. A few years after saving the Brenner family, Elise and her team, Specs and Tucker, who are paranormal investigators, are called to a case in New Mexico, where Elise must confront and defeat the key face demon, who tormented and destroyed her family when she was a little girl. Eventually, Elise manages to defeat this demon with the help of her mother's spirit and her niece, Imogen. Before leaving the further, it is revealed that the red-faced demon was present there with Elise, silently following her, even though they couldn't see him. At this moment, the women make a mistake within the further and come across a red door, which they decide to open. Curiously, this door reveals to Elise the Lambert family's attic, where the young boy Dalton falls and injures himself. This film reveals that the further does not follow the physical laws of time as we know them. Because of this, different spirits and astral projections can visit the past or witness certain past events. Here, Elise only sees the boy fall, but she doesn't know him yet. This boy, as I mentioned earlier, is Dalton Lambert, the son of Josh Lambert, whom Elise helped and saved decades ago when he was a young man. Interestingly, when Dalton falls from the ladder, he hears chilling noises caused by the lipstick-faced demon, who is attached to Elise. However, Dalton doesn't see anything in the physical world. It's implied that Elise Rainier unknowingly brings the red demon with her because he is drawn to her ability to astral project and her mediumistic powers. Although Elise rarely uses these abilities, the entity is patiently waiting for the perfect opportunity to possess a physical body, specifically Elise's. However, the demon needs a lot of time to accomplish this and is merely waiting for a better chance, possibly through someone else Elise tries to help. Curiously, when Elise accidentally reveals the red demon to Dalton, the demon realizes that the boy also has the ability to astral project. This is why he chooses Dalton as his next victim. Being a small child, Dalton is easier to deceive and manipulate due to his innocence, making him a relatively easy target for possession. This is reflected in the first film and in Dalton's drawings, where the boy believes that his lucid dreams and astral projections are simply fun dreams where he has some control and can freely explore different places. This is why Dalton feels no fear as he ventures deeper into the most dangerous and distant areas of the further, leaving his physical body vulnerable, an empty vessel that can be possessed by a dangerous spirit or demon. Through Dalton's drawings, we know that the demon tried to get closer to him. This is why, every night, the demon began luring and deceiving him into venturing toward his lair in that dimension, which is essentially the demon's refuge, where he can fully capture Dalton's soul. Cleverly and sinisterly, the red demon places a door that leads directly to him in the attic of the Lambert house, within the further, or the astral plane, since Dalton was forbidden from going up to the attic after his fall. And because of the strange noise he had heard, the boy decides to enter the attic and explore it completely during what he believes to be a dream. Macabrely, Dalton unknowingly steps into the demon's lair. That's why, one night, he reaches a statue of a horse, which he later draws. Each time, Dalton explores deeper and deeper into this place until he encounters the red doors and the red demon, whom he describes in his drawings as the man with fire on his face. At one point, Dalton even gets close to where the entity is and sees him from afar, behind a barred semicircular window. This is why he draws the demon alongside the spinning wheel the creature uses to sharpen his claws. Because Dalton was very young and innocent, he didn't sense the danger and initially thought the red demon was some sort of friendly and colorful being that intrigued him. This is why he tried to get closer each night to observe him better. It's very important to note that the red demon's favorite song is Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim, which helps him lure children. They become curious about the song's exaggerated vocals and the various string instruments it features. All of this leads Dalton to say that his dreams are turning into nightmares. As we learn in the first Insidious film, which is chronologically the third, the Lambert family, consisting of Renai, Josh, and their 3 children, moves into their new house, unaware that they are already being stalked by the Red Demon. Strange things begin to happen as the ghosts and the Red Demon are drawn to Dalton due to his astral projection abilities. Each night, Dalton leaves his body, attracting the demon who wants to possess him and the ghosts who seek to feed on his life energy. In the first few days after moving in, Renai's books are thrown off the shelves, a furnace turns on by itself in the basement, and breathing sounds can be heard in the house. Additionally, the attic door opens on its own, and someone seems to ring the doorbell, but no one is there. Renai's music sheets also disappear and later reappear in the attic. Eventually, the ladder Dalton was playing on in the attic breaks, causing him to get slightly injured. The next day, after the boy goes to sleep, he doesn't wake up and seemingly falls into a coma. It's very important to note that this fall, caused by the Red Demon, didn't genuinely harm him, neither in the physical plane nor the astral one. That night, the demon, who was already very close, managed to lure and finally capture him in the further, leaving his body free to be possessed. An interesting detail in the universe of these films is that possession isn't instantaneous and only occurs for brief periods until certain entities eventually manage to fully possess a person. This is why 3 whole months pass with the boy still in a coma, unable to wake up, connected to various machines that keep him alive and monitor his vital signs. During this time, Renai and Josh don't know what to do, and strange things continue to happen in the house. Renai hears a voice through the baby monitor, saying that the boy will not wake up and that there's nothing they can do. The voice also says, "I want his body. I want it now." Although it's unclear whether this voice belongs to the lipstick-faced demon or another malevolent ghost attracted to Dalton's body, most fans believe it's the demon. During this period, the Lamberts become deeply frightened when they see claw marks or red handprints appear on Dalton's body, as well as on his sheets and blankets. Additionally, Dalton's brother, Foster, tells his parents that he doesn't like sleeping with the door open or near Dalton's room, because, according to him, Dalton sleepwalks and moves around his room at night. This implies that the demon is manipulating the boy's body like a puppet while slowly trying to possess him. The situation becomes critical when claw and hoof marks begin to appear on the windows and other areas of the Lambert house, unsettling the family and forcing them to move. Interestingly, during this time, psychic Elise Rainier has a dream in which she sees Dalton, asleep in his coma, and in front of him appears the Red Demon. This vision tells Elise that the entity wants to possess the boy and has him trapped in its realm. Even though the Lamberts move, believing they'll be safe and everything will return to normal, the malevolent spirits and the Red Demon follow Dalton's empty body to the new house. That's why the paranormal events continue. Dalton's grandmother, Josh's mother, visits them and shares that she had a strange dream that felt more like an astral projection. In that dream, she directly encountered the further and saw Dalton's room. There, she observed the silhouette of the Red Demon and asked who he was. The entity replied that he was a visitor. When she asked what he wanted, the demon ominously and threateningly pointed at Dalton. This revelation terrifies Josh's mother, who tells her son what she saw and what she fears. While she recounts this, the demon briefly manifests in the physical world behind Josh, horrifying her. Shortly after, the demon enters Dalton's room, destroys the medical equipment, and throws everything into disarray, leaving the boy's body on the floor. Because of this, the grandmother contacts Elise, who arrives at the Lambert house with Tucker and Specs to investigate what's happening. Using a special device built by Tucker, they manage to hear strange noises like clicks produced by the entity. Then, when Elise enters Dalton's room, she hears the demon growling and manages to see it directly. She describes its appearance to Specs, who sketches the entity, and the drawing turns out to be very similar to Dalton's own illustrations. It's then that Elise realizes it's not the house that's haunted, it's the boy himself. For this reason, She and her team decide to perform a seance, setting up cameras throughout the house. During the session, it seems Elise manages to communicate with Dalton's spirit, who tells her that if the man with the fire face hears him, he will hurt him. He also pleads for help, saying he's trapped. Unfortunately, the demon becomes aware of what's happening and intercepts the communication. It then threatens Elise, telling her that if she doesn't leave him alone, he will kill her and eat her intestines. Additionally, it begins insulting her and shouting profanities. It is at this moment that Dalton seemingly moves and enters the room where the seance is taking place, causing everyone present to be thrown across the room. Afterward, the boy strikes Specs when he approaches him, severely injuring him by slamming him against a wall. Although it appears that Dalton has already been possessed by the demon, upon reviewing the cameras and various photographs, they realize that the demon is actually using him like a puppet since it still cannot fully possess him. The demon makes everything seem very convincing because it is an expert puppeteer and has many different puppets in its home. This is when Elise manages to scare off the entity by confronting it, forcing the demon to retreat back into the further, to its lair, where it begins sharpening its claws one last time to prepare for a final attack, to either possess the boy or, at the very least, kill him. At this point, Josh Lambert, with Elise's help, enters the astral plane and manages to sneak into the domain of the red demon, where he quickly frees his son. However, the demon realizes what is happening and proceeds to attack Josh, roaring viciously and throwing him through the air. Fortunately, Dalton manages to break free from his chains and escapes a bit from the area, thanks to his father freeing him. At that moment, the lipstick-faced demon attacks Josh again, striking and throwing him for the second time. It then tries to charge at him to capture him, but Josh quickly gets up, grabs Dalton, and escapes from the demon's lair while the entity watches them menacingly and furiously. Josh and Dalton soon find themselves lost in the further, surrounded by the spirits of the dead searching for a body to inhabit. Disturbingly, this fight with the demon causes the entire house in the real world to shake violently, as if an earthquake were happening only there. Josh focuses and uses almost all his energy to return to his house within the further. He then tells Dalton to run back to his body while he rests and catches his breath. The boy obeys, but unexpectedly, he runs into the red demon, who is waiting for him in his room, preventing him from returning to his body. Dalton quickly escapes and hides in his parents' room, but the demon teleports there and attacks him, pursuing him in a terrifying and macabre way, crawling rapidly on all fours along the wall. Despite everything, Dalton manages to return to his body and save himself, coming back to the real world. Since it can no longer possess Dalton, the lipstick-faced demon now seems to focus on possessing Josh's body. However, at that moment, Josh is already being partially possessed by another entity known as the Bride in Black or Parker Crane, which prevents the red demon from taking over his body. The demon also cannot continue stalking Elise from the shadows because the medium is killed by the Bride in Black, who is controlling Josh. This is why the demon can no longer attack the Lambert family for the time being. Due to these circumstances, the lipstick-faced demon decides to target a new victim, a young woman named Allison, who had special abilities, including astral projection. After she suffered a severe accident and was resuscitated by doctors, she remained in a catatonic state, as if in a coma, but with her eyes open. Allison remained in this state because she ventured too deep into the further and brought the red demon back with her. That's why, when Specs and Tucker visit Allison's family to help her, they are accompanied by Elise, who now guides them as a spirit since she has passed away. There, they encounter something unexpected. When Elise tries to communicate with Allison to make her react and wake up, she realizes that something similar to what happened with Dalton is occurring. Elise hears the demon's characteristic clicking sounds, which terrifies her. She then screams, realizing that the demon has returned and will not give up. In the new movie Insidious 5, the lipstick-faced demon returns to the lives of Dalton and Josh Lambert a decade after Dalton managed to free himself from this entity. Now, Dalton has grown into a young man attending college, while Josh is a bit older. Both must once again face this powerful and sinister being. Now that we've thoroughly covered all of this, I want to talk about the physical appearance of the lipstick-faced demon, what we know about its personality and behavior, and explain its unique characteristics, as well as its known abilities and weaknesses. The lipstick-faced demon has an extremely terrifying and brutal physical appearance. It presents itself as a very tall and slender humanoid figure, with most of its body being black. The little exposed skin it has appears thick and cracked. However, it's important to highlight that much of its body is covered in dense, dark fur. The creature has very long arms and legs, disproportionate to its body. Its legs end in large hooves similar to those of a ram, while its arms conclude in sharp claws described as spider-like. Additionally, these claws have very sharp silver tips that the demon itself attaches to its hands. The head and face of this entity are its most notable and terrifying physical traits. Its face is vaguely humanoid, but features two tufts of wild hair on the sides of its head, while the center is completely bald. Its face is predominantly red, with some black spots or patterns. Its nose is large and pointed. Its eyes are extremely bulging and yellowish, similar to those of a cat or reptile, with vertical pupils. The creature also has a large mouth filled with sharp, yellowish, fang-like teeth. Lastly, it can extend a very long tongue from its mouth that ends in pointed tips, resembling the tongue of snakes or certain reptiles. It is also important to mention that this entity has a long tail ending in a sort of beak or arrowhead, similar to the tails demons were depicted within classical and ancient representations, such as in Renaissance paintings. All these features give the lipstick-faced demon, also known as the man with fire on his face, a sinister, iconic, and deeply disturbing appearance. Although we never see it speak directly in the films, except when it communicates with Lorraine or Josh's mother, it is shown to be an extremely malevolent and violent monster. According to Elise, its sole purpose is to possess the living to inflict devastating spiritual and emotional pain. It not only torments the victim trapped in its dimension, but also seems to enjoy hurting the loved ones around that person. This is why it twistedly toys with them, psychologically torturing and frightening them, as we see happen with Renai in the first film. According to director James Wan, this entity's main purpose or motivation is to claim the souls of children who enter its dimension. It is extremely cruel and ruthless in doing so. Moreover, the souls it traps in its home in the further are tortured and harmed whenever they make noise, displaying very abusive behavior. This demon has a twisted hobby of controlling and playing with puppets and marionettes, which it primarily does to efficiently manipulate the bodies of the children it seeks to possess, thereby deceiving its other victims. For all these reasons, we can say that, in essence, it is a malevolent and deeply sinister being. Unlike other spirits in this film's saga, who cling to life because they refuse to accept their fate or attempt to escape the further, this being does so because it finds morbid pleasure and amusement in it, confirming that there is no goodness within it. It is extremely persistent and violent once it has found a victim or potential prey. As a true and natural demon, it possesses incredible abilities that make it an almost impossible enemy to defeat. First, it has physical strength and power, far superior to that of human souls or other entities that inhabit the further. For this reason, it controls that entire dimension and is both respected and feared by the souls trapped there. Although it appears thin, this being can strike and throw fully grown adults with great ease, either by lightly hitting them with its hands or by roaring at them. It also possesses impressive telekinetic powers, which it uses to make people trip from a distance, making it easier to catch them. It almost completely dominates the further, allowing it to teleport at will and track its victims once it has directly detected and seen them. This implies that it has supernatural abilities that have yet to be fully revealed. Its most chilling ability is to control its captured victims in its dimension like puppets, as long as they are still alive and have a physical body. By doing so, it can channel part of its physical power through them, which explains how, by manipulating Dalton, it was able to send everyone flying just by slamming the table. Similarly, it almost killed Specs with a single swipe when it threw him across the room. All this proves that this entity is extremely powerful. Despite its incredible abilities, the lipstick-faced demon has some significant weaknesses. First, it cannot fully manifest in the physical world unless it is linked to a person, such as the psychic and medium Elise, Allison, or Dalton. Therefore, its physical presence is limited and can only appear vaguely, like when it shows up behind Josh or leaves claw marks on Dalton's windows and blankets. Another major weakness is that it takes a long time to fully possess someone, at least more than 3 months. This means that its possession is unlike that of other spirits, and once it takes full control of a body, it can use its full power in the physical world without the body deteriorating or being destroyed, unlike other entities. Its final weakness is that, although it controls the further, it doesn't always realize when someone enters its domain. This allows its enemies to ruin its plans, as we see in the first film when Josh infiltrates and rescues Dalton. And well, this is everything we know about the lipstick-faced demon from the entertaining and memorable Insidious movie saga. Honestly, I think this demon is one of the most terrifying in the modern horror genre, as it is physically very frightening and evil. Additionally, the song it plays in its lair is quite eerie and fits perfectly with its personality. I love the design of this demonic being because, although it is simple, it looks great, malevolent, and terrifying. Interestingly, many fans say this demon vaguely resembles Darth Maul from Star Wars, and in fact, George Lucas mentioned that he created Darth Maul's design inspired by various ancient paintings and interpretations of demons, something similar to what James Wan and his team did to create this monster. I'm also fascinated by this character's story because, although it seems simple, it's actually more complex, especially since it appears in all the Insidious films, which have a somewhat disordered chronology. Organizing that entire timeline was something very fun and interesting to do. Honestly, I really like that this movie saga hasn't ended yet and continues because, in my opinion, it's a fantastic series that features very interesting and memorable monsters, or rather, different malevolent, monstrous spirits, and one deeply disturbing demon. But let me know your opinion in the comments. Were you already familiar with the lipstick-faced demon from the Insidious saga? Did you know its entire chronological story, origins, and the mythology of this monster within this movie universe? Would you like to see more videos about the demons or spirits from this saga, like the man who can't breathe? And finally, do you think this demon, being an infernal creature, is immortal, and that even if it's defeated, it will always be able to return? Or do you believe it can be permanently destroyed? Comment your answers to these questions below, and share your overall opinion about the lipstick-faced demon from the entertaining modern horror saga, Insidious. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and share it to support the channel. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of my new videos.